Hello there. Um, we're returning to the RLSH real life superhero debate on Facebook, on YouTube. Um, if you haven't watched the first half, I recommend you watch it, and I'll actually probably change the title so we know it's a debate between Drake Talon versus ForeMan Rlsh. It's spelled Foreman, but the M is capitalized, so I think man, like Batman, is the way he wants that to be. But anyways, I'll just pick off right where we were, but I'll reread the last comment because I compared Drake Talon to Homelander last time, and I again want to apologize for that because that's a low blow for anybody who calls himself a superhero. But he called himself. He said, "I'm better." Like, no, he said, "I am better." Uh, but that's just it. Is if nothing else comes out of this, I hope that Drake Talon maybe becomes a little more humble, and maybe ForeMan Rlsh maybe wants to be a little more prepared like Drake is, because we can all learn from each other, and I think there's all room for improvement, and criticism can bring us to a better place, not necessarily a place where we have to stay in our bubbles, but it's also okay to stand your ground and not be changed by the debate if you feel your perspective is correct because you've been through a lot and you have your beliefs for reasons, and maybe that's what you contribute. But I am rambling. We're 2 minutes in. We haven't even started, so let's get fucking going here. LMFO, LMFAO. I am better, not because I think, but because I put countless hours of work every day. My judgment is to be blunt, and for those wanting to do better, to do better. If you're just going to have a victim and weak mindset, you can't call yourself a hero. I think that's a very high standard for what defines hero, but I don't think it's bad to have high standards for yourself. I think it's when you start applying them to other people that problems show up. I don't consider myself a very religious person, unless you consider myself a religious atheist. Um, but I do think that where was I going with that? I was going to make a comparison to a guideline in religion, but I can't remember which guideline I was going to go by, so never mind what I was saying there. Sorry to bring up things that might make me divisive to somebody else, so whatever your beliefs are, I respect them, but we're veering off. LMFAO, I'm better, not because I think, but because I put in countless hours of work every day. My judgment is to be blunt, and for those wanting to do better, to do better. If you're just going to have a victim and weak mindset, you can't call yourself a hero. And then Foreman LRSH responds to Drake. You may do a lot of countless hours of work, but in the end, who are you really trying to impress? Every day I see your pictures on Facebook of your muscles, and that's all well and good, but muscles aren't going to help the person on the street who's having a hard time. Muscles aren't going to help a person who's going through depression. Muscles aren't going to help you be an example for little ones out there. In the end, it's all about heart that makes you a hero, not muscles, not skills. From what I've seen, I have more heart than you ever will. And now we see that even though he is a more humble RLSH, he does have pride as well. And I see both of their prides butting up against each other. And well, there's different ways to look at it. And I will go to religion now. From a Christian's perspective, pride would be a sin. And I think there is um, I think there is a lot of truth to that because, in my experience, pride can kind of pretend to be other things. Like, you think you're not being prideful, you think you're just being helpful, being a symbol, but that doesn't mean it's disconnected from pride. And so the compromise I've made, because looking from a Christian perspective, pride a sin, but looking from the perspective of a samurai, pride would be, well, it would be a sin not to have pride, looking from the perspective of a samurai. And so, depending on your philosophy, I think pride could be a valuable thing. But I prefer to have pride in others and not in myself. But that's just what I have come to. I don't necessarily blame people for having pride. I just like to share my perspective on it. And then ForeMan says, before Drake can respond, or Drake doesn't respond, ForeMan just continues with, uh, Drake, Talon, you think you're a hero because you can do things and I can't, that I can't or don't. You think you're better than me just because of that. You're lesser than that. And at this point, you're nothing but an empty shell trying to prove that he's big and strong from the outside. You know, there was a time I admired you where I wanted to be like you, not anymore. Before I move forward, I wanted to double back a little bit. He's saying that muscles can't do all these things, and muscles can do a lot of those things. They can inspire people, they can physically help people, they can help you save yourself. It's not just because there is a vanity or a pride aspect to showing off your muscles, it doesn't mean that muscles are useless. I'll just comment on that and move on so we actually cover some ground here because I am running out of time. And then Drake said, when he said, you know, there was a time I admired you where I wanted to be like you, not anymore. Drake Talon says to ForeMan, I don't do what I do or say to care if I'm admired. I speak a blunt truth. If you're just going to cry about, like, I actually don't know that word. Unwive? Is that a name? You've been doing all this time. All you're doing is proving me right. He's saying, I'm being blunt. Don't cry about it. Which is pretty harsh. But at the same time, he's saying some kind of harsh things at him. So this is fair enough. Like, this is back and forth. This is what I want to see. Is I want to see ideas and perspectives clashing, and at the end of the day, we're both still, or whoever we are, we're still members of the Rlsh, because there actually are no standards. As brutal as that sounds, and that's not to say that a true villain wouldn't be expunged, but there are real life supervillains who are good people, and there are heroes who you might think are a little off. They might have beliefs that you don't believe, beliefs that you might think are a little strange or even delusional. But that depends on your perspective because life is very complicated. I'll just leave it at that and move on. And then Drake Talon says to ForeMan, well, guess what, homie? I also do countless hours of outreach for the homeless and actually save more than one life when it comes to patrols, including a family from a home invader with a weapon. So again, stop crying and step up your game. That's just it. People just want a little. People want standards, uh, and people want a little recognition from all of the hardships they've been through. Because life is hard, you know. Like I give recognition to both these guys. They've been through a lot, and so they both just want a little recognition at the end of the day. And that's what I'm here to do. I want to give them recognition, but at the same time, let their ideas butt up. And he's saying, step up your game, which I appreciate the ideal, but at the same time, it can be a very harsh thing to put on someone else. So I always say to yourself, yes, keep stepping up your game, but you never know how hard somebody else is trying. And so the simple what may seem very simple of asking you to step up your game. But here's the thing: we all are in this RLSH, and I don't think you may look at an RLSH or someone saying they are one to the same standard as you do the average person, because you want there to be something different about that person. That if you're saying you're a symbol, you got to see the symbol, be the symbol, and that means something very different to everybody else. And I'll just leave it on this last comment here. ForeMan says to Drake Talon, "You can say whatever you want, but that doesn't mean it's going to make me any different. Whether you choose to believe it or not, I'm not going to be able to change your mind, and quite frankly, I don't care to. A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. A real hero in my life told me that once. I'm beginning to understand him a little more." And I think there is truth to that, but people have opinions for reasons. So there is truth to what you say, but it does not necessarily mean that not changing your mind or being a little bit stubborn from another person's perspective makes you wrong automatically, just because you may not see from their perspective. We have multiple perspectives, and like I said, we can learn from each other, but I'm all out of time, so this will have to have another part to it. Part 3, who knows how many parts this is going to be. Hopefully nobody deletes any comments or anything. My name is Joseph Arthur Rosell, but some people might know me as Captain Canada. I want to thank you for watching. I want to wish you all the luck in the world, and I want you to remember that I love you. Peace out, and good luck.